The Pablo Picasso Still Life exhibition, a collaboration with the Fondation Almine Rech Ruiz Picasso, is a rare and historic opportunity to study Picasso's different approaches to still life art in painting, drawing, printmaking, sculpture, and ceramic over a 50-year span of the artist's career. Historically, there have been very few survey exhibitions of Picasso's still life work. So few, in fact, that we might ask why. One thing that Picasso's admirers and detractors seem to share is a fascination with his personal life and relationships, which are directly reflected, of course, in his figural work. The name Picasso, in fact, conjures famous, iconic figural compositions such as Les Demoiselles d'Avignon, Guernica, and the myriad portraits that Picasso made of his family, his friends, and his companions. At the same time, however, Picasso also produced thousands of still lifes in an astonishing range of styles, techniques, and materials. So much so, in fact, that his friend and biographer, John Richardson, stated that still life was the genre that Picasso would eventually explore more exhaustively and more imaginatively than any other artist in history. This exhibition develops that idea with over 40 examples of Picasso's still life, drawn almost entirely from Picasso's collection of his own work. That means objects that the artist held back, preserved throughout his life, and that then passed into his estate, many of which have never before been seen in this country, and some of which have never been exhibited anywhere.
This painting takes us to the beginning of Cubism, when Picasso became primarily interested in still life. And there is a direct connection to the 1907 groundbreaking Demoiselles d'Avignon. Those two works were created in the same studio at Bateau Lavoir. And then we found a drawing, one of the numerous studies for Demoiselles d'Avignon, that show a picture with flowers prominently displayed in the foreground of the drawing. And this still life element then appear in this painting.
So this is a unique opportunity to study works from across 50 years of Picasso's career in one place and in close conversation with one another. The earliest works in the exhibition date to the time between 1908 and 1912, when Cubism was first emerging as a distinct artistic style in the studios of its two co-inventors or co-founders, Pablo Picasso and George Braque. A special feature of the exhibition are rare pieces of furniture from the Paris apartment that Picasso shared with his first wife, Olga Koklova, in the 1920s. These objects bring us to the intersection of his creative and domestic life, such as the double-sided painted screen which bridge Picasso's home and his atelier by translating the apartment's wood paneling, traditional wainscoting, and fireplace into a colorful modernist decorative scheme. We are also delighted to exhibit the embroidered chair that Picasso painted in his iconic 1918 portrait of Olga in the Musée Picasso, Paris. Picasso described the early 1930s as the worst period of his life. Why? Well, for one thing, his marriage to Olga was deteriorating, and in 1935 they separated. The following year, a horrendous civil war broke out in his native country, Spain. At this time, Picasso also began a series of overlapping relationships with other women, including the photographer Dora Maar, a leading figure in the Surrealist movement in art and literature. While Picasso never officially became a member of the Surrealist movement, many of its members saw him as the embodiment of their values.
So in the spring of 1936, Picasso left for the south because he really had a complicated year. That actually led him to abandon painting for almost a year and put his creativity into surrealist poetry, meaning no punctuation, no grammar, just this stream of consciousness flow. And so when he arrived in Juan-les-Pins, he actually started to paint again. Here we have this painting that show a breakfast tray or maybe just a tablecloth set on what could be a dresser, as indicated here with the handle. We have what I would, I guess, call a staple of French breakfast with the baguette, the butter in the butter dish, and the black coffee. And that picture, but what is really interesting is the orange in the middle of the painting or the tray that has been freshly picked with the stem and the leaves still attached to it. And this is definitively the type of still life that his friend and secretary Jaime Sabartes would describe the best. A kind of narrative of the intimate life of the man in terms of familiar objects, of what he ate, what he drank, and loves to keep before his eyes and could not part with. And also what was very interesting is in reading the poetry that he created during that 7-week stay in Juan, is that there is direct connection between his poetry and his painting, and this one in particular. The answer brought in on the morning tray beside the tree branch flowering and visible outside the window, doubling up with so much laughter.
A final passage of the exhibition focuses on the theme of darkness and light, which runs through much of Picasso's work, still life work, from beginning to end, and which also carries a strong symbolic significance. This theme became especially prominent in his work during the dark years of the Second World War and the immediate post-war period. That's no surprise. These were years of widespread devastation across Europe, and Picasso expressed the dark zeitgeist of the time in a series of images in different media featuring the skull or death's head, the archetypal reminder of death.